I'm Alex. Anthropologist, safari guide, conservationist. Exploring nature is what I do.
Trash and bar, Jeff?
Yeah, sure.
I've never been more uncomfortable in my life.
Smells like adventure.
I wish I was somewhere warm.
It's no secret that our planet faces so many challenges, but the bright spot, together, we can change things.
If you don't believe in climate change,
Best of luck to you.
It smells earthy and grassy.
So grab a sturdy pair of boots and buckle up.
I'm not even finished sure. I'm just gonna shovel this in my mouth.
It's so green and lush. Shabona Clippers. What the hell is happening? This is nuts!
We've got a whole damn planet to save. All right, we got audio on, we've got
Nice.
picture on. We are back. This is exciting. We've even got the cat.
We do.
Hey, everybody out there in the internet land. Those of you who have joined us tonight, I deeply appreciate it, first off. Welcome back. I guess if it's your first time, welcome. We've been, can I say off the air? Is that okay?
I think so.
Is that, I mean, it's not the
Off-
TV, but it's like off the internet waves.
Internet air.
Off the internet air for a few months here. We did a special episode with Membles.com. If you haven't heard of them, worth a look. They're retooling right now. They'll be back up and at them soon. But that was in May, I think, and here it is the end of June. We've been kind of neglectful of the show. We haven't really done much, so I apologize for that. But if you are out there and watching here at the beginning, please remember this is a live, interactive program. You are welcome to stop us at any point by throwing a comment into the comment chat bar. I've got that pulled up just to the side here. Ordinarily, we'd have a Jeff probably sitting back behind the camera doing all this business. He's a little tied up tonight, so it's just me sitting here in the pilot seat and the host seat, but I've got the lovely Rachel.
I guess they'll do.
You'll do. You'll more than
For
do.
now.
We've even got the cat tonight. She's plopped herself down
She
right here in the
is.
middle of the whole set. So I hope you don't mind cats, but we've got our cat Ember right here, just in front of good old Teddy Roosevelt.
Perfect place.
So we've been off the air, and again, if you're new, this show is basically like, okay, we're really interested in conservation, we're interested in wildlife, we're interested in environmentalism, but how do we bring it to you in a way that's maybe a little bit more palatable than the infinite doom and gloom that the BBC seems to be content with presenting, right?
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And also, like, what if we could, I don't know, talk to real people that actually go and study things or spend their time outdoors instead of just this elegant, beautiful footage of animals that we then put fun music to, which we will also do in our musical moment of the week. But really the core of the show is supposed to be about interacting with real people. We always seem to have an audio issue, so if there is no sound and we're just here waving our arms around, I guess you wouldn't be able to hear that. I don't know sign language.
You just see our mouth moving, that's all.
Yeah, please type. Let us know if there's no audio. Let us know if the audio is too loud, overblown, too soft, whatever. Remember, it's interactive. You guys have the ability to communicate and be just as much a part of the show. It's as if you're sitting right here petting the cat with us. And we'd more than love to hear from you. But on tonight's show, we're going to focus on a book. It's a book review episode, The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life by Boyd Varty. And if you've never heard the last name Varty, you're probably not from South Africa, because it's a fairly famous name there. They founded a game park called Londolozi, which is a massive, large, beautiful, and very elegant safari park right outside of right outside of Kruger National Park in the Greater Kruger. And it was kind of the first of its kind. It's what really launched this kind of opulent safari. You haven't seen it yet, but we'll go.
Not yet.
We'll go someday.
Soon.
Stay at Earth Camp. Yeah.
Sounds good.
We're going in October, not to Londolozi, but to Africa. Are you excited?
Very excited, yes.
I don't know if the people out there know you as well as I do, so introduce yourself.
I'm Rachel.
You're Rachel.
I'm his wife. I work with kids, but I'm also into wildlife, and I got a chance to work for a little while with some African animals, but which was pretty cool, and I can't wait to go to Africa and see everything.
But as a young kid, you wanted to be a dolphin trainer.
Yeah, I did want to be a dolphin trainer. I mean, my whole childhood was devoted to like, oh, I want to be a dolphin trainer, I want to be a vet, which didn't happen.
You
but
rode horses, you raised sheep.
I did. I raised sheep, I rode horses, I had a lot of pets, chickens, dogs, cats.
So we're getting a comment here. The audio is off a bit. Thanks, Paul. I'm not quite sure how to repair that. We've got a brand new microphone here, literally brand new, hot off the press. We bought that just today. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to tweak this maybe after. So if maybe the audio doesn't quite match our mouth, I apologize, but we'll figure that out. Thanks for the heads up. That gives me something to do here in the next few days, figure out why that's not perfectly in sync. At any rate, I am thrilled you guys are here. I'm thrilled you're hanging around. Again, we're going to get into the Lion Tracker's Guide to Life here in just a minute. But first, a staple on Misguided is we always like to take a peek at the headlines. So we're going to go ahead and pull that up here. We've got the headlines. There's our title card for it. But more important, we need to get, here we go. Just give me a second here. Usually Jeff does this. I'm doing this all tonight. And bam, there we go. Hopefully you can see that and everything is hunky-dory. We get into the headlines of conservation a little bit. We like to figure out what's going on in the world. And as usual, if there's something that you'd like to know more about, let us know. Throw in a comment. We'll take notes. And on a future episode, we'll cover it or get more curious about it. Taking a peek, though, if you haven't heard of mangabay.com, they are kind of the quintessential go-to news agency for conservation and media. You've come to love them, right, Rachel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
you read them daily, right?
every day.
Every day. At least when I show you an article.
Exactly.
This is my morning paper. Oh, we've got Scene Sprout in the house. Hey, how's it going, man? It's been so long. So some of the Mammals crew kind of, I don't know, has gone not our separate ways, but like different ways while Mammals is retooling.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Good to have you in the house. I'm glad you're here. We're just taking a peek at the headlines real quick to see what was going on in conservation and in the world. And I wanted to kind of zone in on these top two here for just a second here. So we've got Sri Lankan zoos contracting COVID-19 with their, okay, so that should pull up in a second here. I'm just checking my feed. And deforestation of wildlife habitat continues to surge in southern Myanmar. And unfortunately, this is one of those things that's really bummed me out is during the pandemic, I think all of us felt so hopeful there for a while that the world might finally awaken to the idea that things are a bit weird. It's not a kid's show. Can we go ahead and say things are a bit fucked up?
Yeah, a bit shitty.
Bit shitty, yeah. What's this in for kids? We can say whatever we want, provided YouTube doesn't take it down. Hold on, we've got another comment here, I think from Paul. Sound is delayed. Okay, thanks, Paul. So I'll definitely take a peek as to why that's going on. It could just be the settings I have in the platform I'm running the show through, but that'll give me something to do over the next few days before next week's episode.
Get to it.
Get to it, yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad Paul's speaking up. That's really useful information because now I want the show to look as good as we can. Keep in mind, bear in mind, the show is called
Misguided.
Misguided. So we're okay with being rough around the edges. But to get to the point, during the pandemic, we saw an 8% global reduction in carbon emissions, which was unimaginable because that's more than at any point in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And of course, it was because none of us were doing anything.
Yeah, all staying home.
We were stuck at our house. There was no cruising. There were very few trains, fewer cars driving.
Yeah.
And since the world has opened, of course, those numbers have skyrocketed, which was expected, but they've gone above what was expected, which is very concerning. Combined with news like this, that, I mean, COVID is certainly impacting zoo wildlife. We don't know yet fully if it's impacting wild wildlife. And cases like deforestation or wildlife trafficking have come back with a vengeance. So I think it's up to those of you watching the program, people like us, people already invested in conservation to maybe take a moment and go, how do we get loud about these issues? How do we make other people engage in it? Because I think what it really boils down to, and you've heard me say this a million times, so stop me if I'm boring. But I don't think that any one of us individually are really at the root of the issue.
Yeah.
We're all living our life. We're doing the things that we're supposed to do.
Exactly.
It's the ease at which our lives have been made more comfortable, largely. Yeah, that's contributing to the issue. So I think one of the best ways that you and I can make a direct impact is through what we purchase and what we choose to invest in.
Yeah. definitely.
We just bought a brand new espresso maker because we're bougie like that. And I was so
Always.
excited to see that. How do you say this? Is it Bialetti?
Yeah,
Bialetti.
I think so.
Okay.
That's
you
how
s-
I've always said it.
You speak Italian. Bialetti has hashtag Wake Up for the Ocean on their box. Now,
Nice.
granted, the whole concept here is they're trying to reduce waste. In fact, on the side it even says zero waste, zero rifiuti. So that's not in English. Only coffee, 100% compostable. Coffee is compostable. You can use it to as
Starbucks
fir-
sometimes gives out coffee grounds
Well, this
that
is the
you
first
can put
time
in
I'm
your
saying this.
garden. I know that.
our brother-in-law. That's
yeah.
recently married. It's weird to say. Our brother-in-law has a weird worm farm at his
That's
house
true.
now.
He
and
does.
he feeds them coffee
He
grounds.
does. That's true.
Which is delightful. Only coffee, 100% compostable. In the kitchens of Italian families for more than 80 years, I guess this product has been. It doesn't really address the fact that obviously it comes in packaging. Let's take a peek. We
Ways.
haven't opened this yet. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. So, cardboard box, recyclable. And then on the inside, look at that.
Ooh, tissue.
Tissue paper. Comes in
Tissue
beautiful
paper.
tissue paper. That's
Look
actually
at
kind of
this
cool.
Glittering espresso maker.
Glittery, brand new espresso maker. All compostable.
No
That's actually kinda
styrofoam?
cool. No styrofoam, no
That's
plastic.
awesome. No plastic.
There's not even tape in here.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That kind of blows my mind. So
Yeah.
invest your money into companies like Bialetti. that
I
are-
even got coffee that was in a biodegradable bag. It was like free trade, and it's from Oakland, so nearby. And I was pretty surprised to see that their bags are biodegradable, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that can be a fun issue because,
Yeah.
there's no coffee farms in Oakland. So they're getting
I
the
know,
things-
and they're
no,
not,
I'm
but
not.
it is fair trade too. So
Fair trade is a good start, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying coffee is a fun issue because, like, monocrops can
Yeah.
be a problem. Not necessarily. Coffee grows in very finite parts of the world.
yeah,
So we're all needing that cup of joe in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
this gets into like a supply and demand issue almost, where coffee may be found in smaller numbers, but
yeah,
the more people that want it, how do we impact the planet?
yeah.
There's groups doing it well. Fair trade is a great place to start. The coffee that she got, by the way, is delicious.
It was roasted.
It was roasted in Oakland.
roasted nearby.
Roasted. Well, that's a good starting place. I think above all, whatever
tried.
diet you choose to participate in, consider how far does the range of your diet go? Is it a
Yeah.
10-mile radius? Is it a 50-mile radius? Is it a 10,000-mile radius? It's up to you. We try pretty hard to eat as local to our area, which is Sonoma County,
Yeah.
California, as possible. But there's certain products like coffee you just can't grow here.
No.
So do we give up coffee? That's the great philosophical question. Comment from Scene Sprout here. Doing good. Been installing solar. I saw that. I saw your post about this. This is kind of cool, actually. He's got a trailer. He's sold his home, and he's opting for that more nomadic lifestyle.
Nice.
And you put some awesome solar up on top of it. I
Very
think that's
cool.
really quite cool, actually.
is.
I've seen one way worse not get taken down by YouTube. I think you'll be fine. You never know with YouTube. It's a weird bundle of, will we get taken down, won't we? We've got our neighbor up there playing music. I'm hoping the audio from his
Yeah.
definitely copyrighted music doesn't bleed
You
into
mean
our
I
sound.
shouldn't sing a Disney song?
You can say like the first 5 words.
In the jungle.
The stellar jungle,
Uh-huh.
a large
A
feline,
big kitty
a big kitty, sweet.
slumbers tonight.
Anyway, I think we're boring the people.
Sorry.
No worries. So, basically, the news in Manga Bay has been a lot about, hey, the pandemic slowed things down, which is awesome, but it's roaring back. And really, again, there's just some issues for you and I to consider, and ultimately try to put pressure on manufacturers. I think time and time again, that's what it goes back to, is the
Yeah.
people supplying products have the ability to really steer the ship, and
Yeah.
you and I have some power in what we choose to do. I'm trying to remember my order I put this in, but I did a previous video on, there's 3 simple steps that you and I can take to better the planet on a daily basis with very little effort from you. The first being voting. Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
What do I mean by voting?
Well, voting for people in charge who are looking out for the environment and who will help.
Yeah, like literally
know?
voting for
Yeah.
people that care. But also voting with
Money.
money. Yes.
Money.
Choosing to purchase products like this Biolati. I was pleasantly floored here that this entire packaging is compostable.
Yeah.
I don't know the manufacture process of the product itself, but so voting with your money, going places, choosing to invest your money. Disneyland is fun, sure, but go to natural places. And then this is increasingly becoming more mindful. Everyone wants to go to Zion or Bryce or Grand Canyon, and we're loving the environment to death.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. And when you travel sustainably. Don't travel in big bus groups. Travel independently, like Scene Sprout is doing with his beautiful trailer concept, so he can be nomadic, and be mindful about how you're interacting with the local community.
And the environment.
And of course, that goes without saying. I'm just checking in. He's got another comment here. Gobe makes camera accessories, and they not only use all the recycled packaging and very little inks and dyes in the package, they also have a code in the package that when redeemed, they plant a few trees.
That's cool.
That's cool. I'd
That's
be
very
keen to
cool.
learn more. In fact, I'm going to pull up a separate page so I don't forget this, because I will forget because I've got too much rattling around in my head. Gobe.
I'll remind you.
camera. Yeah, that's a lot of what you do is remind me of stuff. Awesome. I'm going to check them out. Let's pull the screen around here because I don't want to dwell on headlines too long tonight. Here we're going to pull that. We don't need that anymore. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And voila, we're back to the full screen. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
That was a long way of rambling to basically say that things didn't really improve the way we hoped they would over the last year. Doesn't have to be bad news. Focus on the positive. Increasingly, that seems to be where our effort should be put. Focus on the good stories. There's a lot of bad that we should know about, but there's so many people trying to do good.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I want to replay a musical moment of the week that we used in season 2 about an animal that lives off the coast of Baja California and has been plummeted due to fishing, the fishing crisis going on around the world. There's many medium in which you can find information about fishing issues, but I think, again, local, one of the reasons I don't buy, for example, I'm trying to even remember what fish it is because I don't ever buy it. Oh, it's the one like off the coast of South America. You don't eat fish though. Eat local is what I'm trying to say. So with that in mind, you can impact the planet. And I wanted to share with you the plight of the vaquita. So give me just a second here, and I'm going to switch you guys around.
Jeff. Felix! You want to talk about sustainable seafood? Do I ever? Okay.
You know, one of my least favorite parts of the operating system here is that you have to manually turn the microphone on every time you log back. It's weird, but that's the least of my worries. That's a gold-plated issue.
Yeah, but I mean, a few mishaps are okay.
Again, it's called Misguided for a reason. Well, we've come to the point in the show here. We're doing a faster episode tonight. Typically, an episode is like an hour and 20 minutes, but we're trying to condense it a little bit. Because it's the first episode of the new quote-unquote season, and man, it feels good to be back in the saddle. It was so weird, like being off and getting squishy, and it's like not going to the gym. So happy to be back. I chose to do an episode on this lovely book here, which reminds me, I was going to pull up the book so you guys could see. Let me throw it here. Whoops, I need to pull that around. Give me 2 seconds here. There we go. Pull that. There we are, and bam.
Book.
I'm going to put it right in the middle of us. Ready? 3, 2. It's right in the middle of us. The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life by Boyd Varty. This book is absolutely wonderful. He's an inspirational speaker. So again, his family owns and operates Londolozi, which is a game park in South Africa. And it was one of the first parks to say, what would happen if we focused on restoring the land? What would happen if we focused on restoring the wildlife? What would happen if we didn't focus on the hunting as much and instead focused on taking people on basically an eco tour of the area? So one day I hope to take you there, but we're going to be visiting Kruger National Park here in just a few months. You excited?
Yes, super excited.
What animal are you most excited to see?
Rhinos.
Rhino.
They're cute.
Black rhino or white rhino?
Either. I don't care.
Good. Rhinos are an experience that fundamentally changes you. It's like seeing an elephant, because you can't fathom that an animal that large can just do whatever until you see it for yourself. Because an adult white rhino, for example, is 5,000 pounds, pushing 6. Like if it's really heavy, it's a big animal. And an elephant is 9 or 10,000 pounds. Okay, let's get rid of this book.
Elephants are definitely my second choice.
Elephants, I mean, that's
but they're pretty awesome in their own right. I just like that rhinos are goofy and just kind of chunky. And
So the Latin name for the white rhino is Ceratotherium simum, which translates to flat-nosed, big-horned beast, which is exactly what they are. It's got a big flat face. Early on, Dutch and English colonizers saw the animal and thought, oh wow, it's got this big flat face. So the Dutch called it the Weid rhino, which when the British said, hey Dutch people, what did you call that animal? They were like, oh, we called it the Weid rhino. And the British were like, oh good, jolly good, the white rhino. Weid, white, same thing. So that's why today we call it the white rhino.
Cheerio.
Cheerio, pip pop. The black rhino is not actually black. It's gray, just like the white rhino. I don't know why it's called the black rhino.
Maybe they called it block, like blocky.
Block rhino. Its Latin name is Dipceros bicornis, if that helps with anything. We're way off topic now. It's fine. Rhinos. We will find you a rhino in Africa.
Okay, sounds good.
Scene Sprout says don't pet the hippos. Good advice.
That is
in fact,
good
Scene Sprout,
advice.
have you ever seen the way, or any of you guys, have you seen the way a hippo poos? Have you?
I don't think so.
You weren't with me at the zoo that one time?
Maybe. Was it under the water?
No, he got up. And I've seen this in the wild too. It's incredible. So a hippo walks
I
up
hope to see this.
to a bush, and he backs up to it. So bush here.
Does he
bush,
spray
like
it?
Bush just, no, it better.
Oh,
He
darn.
backs up to the bush, and then he starts pooing.
Okay.
And then it projectile poos. And then
good.
he spins his tail so there's a fan of poo that goes everywhere. It's
even
incredible.
better.
Absolutely incredible. That was
Poo
a question
fan.
that stumped me on my first day of track and sign. We walked up to a bush and there was just poo everywhere. And the assessor was like, "What animal did this?" And I was like, "It looks like an animal exploded. I don't know." Hippo. But don't pet the hippo. That's excellent advice, Dean Sprout. Looks like
Yeah.
we've got Brian in the house too. Welcome, Brian. He very much wants to see a rhino. In fact, have you got an update of Apollo, your adopted rhino at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in East Africa? We adopted
An elephant.
Neleku.
Neleku,
I had to
yeah.
remember the name for a second. Neleku, a beautiful little
Yeah.
elephant girl in East Africa at the
Very
Sheldrick.
cute.
Boyd Varty has certainly spent time in East Africa. But this book is specifically about tracking wildlife in South Africa. So I'm not going to read the whole book. We're going to just do a quick book review of this. If you've never been out of a city, you're missing out. You know, we're lucky to live here among the redwoods and the sequoias. Being in nature is fundamental to the human existence, right?
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree.
Now, we grew up very differently.
Yeah, we did.
I grew up in a family that wasn't really interested in camping or hiking or anything like that, which always drew me to it. I was curious about it.
Yeah.
Your family was very much into that. What was your first memory of being in the outdoors?
It's like I don't have an exact memory because I feel like it's always been a thing. I just remember like hiking's a big thing, and like you said, camping too. But I just feel like it's always been a part of me, just going along the trail and just playing on the rocks when camping as a kid, and just imagining I'm an animal or bear or something out on the rocks, looking for a snack or something. It's just kind of been a part of me that I don't have like a particular memory of it, because it's just always been a thing that we've done. And I don't think I could ever live without that. I mean, every time it's like last year we didn't get camping, and I miss it so much, and I really want to get out there and camp because it's just a part of you that you can't take away.
It's true. No, once you've gone camping, I think you either obviously fall into the I'm a hotel person or this is what I'm
I need
about.
a shower.
I need a shower. I grew up in a family that's not what we did. And I had to find that for I think I was 18 the first time I camped. And I was heavily addicted immediately. And then found nature is just where I want to spend my life. So in Boyd Varty's The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life, early on here, the very beginning of the book, he is up early, as most safari guides are, especially if you're a wildlife tracker. You have to get up before the guides get up. Because if you're a guide, you're going to head out of a camp 5:30-ish with your guests, maybe, depending on time of year, and go out on a game drive. But you're going to be relying on information that a tracker has given you. So the trackers get up before anybody. They're up and pre-dawn, suiting up, going out into the bush, and their job literally is to follow the tracks of the animals and then help the guides understand where movement has happened. And I, when I'm guiding, love to be one of the first trucks out, because it's a fresh set of tracks, it's a fresh set of everything, and you have the best chance at really guiding, in my opinion, because any idiot can sit behind the wheel of a car and pull up to animals in a predetermined location. But to track wildlife and find them and understand how they move and how they operate, that is an art form. So at the very beginning of the book, Boyd is on his way, ironically, to his friend Alex's house. And
good.
Boyd is a white South African, Alex is a white South African. Boyd says, outside the darkness is lit by kerosene lanterns, very romantic. And in the clear, cold morning air, they flicker with an old familiarity. I drive in the darkness from my house to Alex's through the small village of Wandalozi. Alex is one of the best trackers in South Africa, so I'm taking this literally. 10 years older than me, close enough to get into trouble together, old enough to guide me out of it. A true friend and mentor. The thatched cottages are still and silent. It is before even the safari guides have begun to stir and prepare for their day. Here's my favorite line. Alex's house is on the outskirts of the village, which seems appropriate. He lives on the fringe where civilization gives way to wilderness. His house is positioned at the limits of his tolerance for the domestic. What, are you making fun of me?
Maybe.
I think that line is great. His house is positioned at the limits of his tolerance for the domestic. So, Scene Sprout, I
that's
wonder, you know, you'll be nomadic soon and able to travel around in your wonderful trailer. Will your house be at the limits of your tolerance for the domestic? Will you be on the verge of civilization and wilderness constantly? We live, for example, in an area with indigenous people known as the Pomo, P-O-M-O. And the Pomo don't have a word in their language to distinguish home versus wilderness, because the word simply translates to just an endless landscape. Everything is viewed as home. I think that's what they're getting at here. Alex is a paradox. He grew up first in wealth and then in poverty. He was 14 when his family lost everything, and he told me he could recall a time when he'd been so hungry he had waited for a chicken to lay an egg so he could eat. That's hungry.
That is.
At other times, he hunted rabbits on the lawn of the local inn across from his home, much to the dismay of the local innkeeper. So they go on to describe, you know, Alex and the various other characters in this book. But Boyd he's a motivational speaker. So his goal is to try to get you engaged with yourself, with the natural world around you, and to become a better person. So later on, I don't know where we are going, but I know exactly how to get there, might be the motto of the great tracker. And Boyd says that concept, I don't know where we're going, but I know exactly how to get there, is a great attitude toward life.
Yeah, it is.
I think so many of us spend so much time desperately trying to figure out, you know, the exact path to be walking on, but
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I don't know where we're going, but I know how to get there.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I like to live it.
Yeah, so you said, you know, you started as wanting to be a dolphin trainer and a vet and all these other things,
Yeah.
but you've come to work with children.
Mm-hmm.
How did you wind up there? Is that, I mean, you don't know where you're going, but you know exactly how to get there. Is that, you know, are you wandering through a path? You know, do you have, you've always wanted to open a bakery? Is that your ultimate goal, or?
That's the thing. It's life. You never know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
We're
I don't
boring
know.
the cat. She's leaving.
That's the thing. You don't know where you're going in life, so exactly. But you just know you're going there, and whatever it is, you know, hopefully the end is good. But
So the group sets out to track some lions, as the name of the book would suggest. They're a little bit further down the path. They found some lion tracks. And they say, as paradoxical as it sounds, going down a path and not finding a track is part of finding the track. The path of not here is part of the path of here. That's some like Yoda bullshit right there. That's some Star Wars deep meta kind of stuff.
it is. It is.
Holy cow. Part of the path of not here is part of the path of here. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you guys at home? Let us know.
That's a tough one.
Part of the path
Path
of
is
not here.
I mean,
Part-
sometimes
this is part
like
of
you
the path here.
think, like we're talking about, like I thought I was gonna be a dolphin trainer, but I ended up here with you working
I wanted to be a dolphin
in
trainer,
childcare.
but I ended up here with you.
And I'm happy, completely happy, and happier maybe that I would have been in that place, you know.
Don't rub the
Even though
microphone.
you don't know where you're going, the path may be better than
So
you
don't
originally thought.
have expectations.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about like not having expectations, but
So have expectations, but don't expect how to get there.
yeah, I guess so.
Let's see. Seed Sprout says, I will be as far out as I can tow it. The whole mission is to boondock 100% of the time. Solar composting toilet. Oh, that's really cool. Solar
Nice.
composting toilet. I'm set up to mostly live no connections for up to 2 weeks before needing to resupply. That's really
That's
cool.
pretty cool. That is.
Later on in the book here, I once asked a great spiritual teacher if she had had a guru. Have you had a guru?
I have not had a guru.
She looked at me for a long moment and said, my teacher was the desert, and in the desert, everything is as it is. That's very Lawrence of Arabia of this teacher, who responded with, why do you like the desert? He said, because it's clean. As a tracker, I know what she means. For in the bush, everything has its own natural way. The lion we are following is hunting buffalo. It is his way. When we search for the tracks of leopards, we do so in shaded groves, not in open savanna. because secrets are part of the leopard's way. When we follow trails, we become ourselves in the quest. The natural world, like a great Zen Roshi, is profoundly impartial. It meets life as it is without judgments or assumptions or wishes for something different. It is at one with itself. Now, I can really relate to that. The idea of when you're out tracking an animal, again, you really have to understand the animal in order to understand where to go or how to follow it. And I think in life, maybe it's about knowing what you're after and the path that you need to be on to find it. It's about knowing when you've gone down the wrong path. The leopard wouldn't be here in the open savanna. It'd be off in the shady or bushy side of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the career as a, I don't know, full-time clown can't be found if you're, I don't know,
If you're
working at Walmart. Or maybe, I don't know,
maybe it could be a clown on the side.
side clown while working
Discount
at
the
Walmart.
side clown.
The restoration of the planet begins in people. The restoration of the planet begins in you. The moment felt orchestrated by some divine force, the outer landscape and my inner path suddenly infusing each other with meaning. It's a rare thing to have an encounter with your destiny, but as a tracker, I had learned that it doesn't have to be. To live as a tracker is to know your track when it passes you. I knew mine when I saw it. I knew the truth. Okay, so it goes on to get a little bit more personal there. The point is, we see this occasionally when we're hiking, that you can find a track
Yeah.
of a cat, of a antelope, of a dog, whatever,
Yeah.
and knowing fresh tracks versus old tracks, knowing the right path versus the wrong path
Yeah.
is invaluable information, and certainly when guiding, it's invaluable information. I'm trying to tie it into the next line here. I should do a video on tracking, I think.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We'll do a live stream while tracking.
Do it.
There is a wilderness in each person waiting to be brought back to life.
Whoa.
Whoa, big deep thoughts there.
That is deep.
There's a wilderness in each person waiting to be brought back to life. This, I think, speaks volume about the current situation of the planet. It ties back into the Manga Bay article. It ties back into the idea that ultimately, most people, especially in the Western world, seem to have forgotten what it is to be in the wild, what it is to be in a natural setting. I am so tired of hearing people that are excited about pigeons or excited about deer or excited, you know, the simple, maybe I'm being too judgmental, but the simple things. They say in the book that it takes 3 days, and I'll be really keen to find out with you how long it takes when we're in Africa for you to fully detach yourself from the world we live in and then get back into the rhythm of the wild, get back into that natural state of being, which I think more of us need. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've all tied to nature, but we forget it, you know, in our life, you know. I mean, when you get tied up into work or, you know, this and that, you can forget about nature and how important it is. And, I mean, getting back in it, you know, it draws you in and, you know, but it's easy to just say, oh, hey, here's a pigeon, you know, we're in nature.
Here's a pigeon, you're in nature.
It's much more than that, you know.
Well, I get, you know, like around here, people get terrified of when a mountain lion shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're in the mountain lion's territory.
Exactly.
People have de-wilded themselves.
Yeah, that's
and
a
the
good word.
Attenborough mindset is to re-wild yourself and the landscape.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good word for it, because people forget that, hey, it's here. It's not gone away. I mean, there is less of it because of us, but it's still out there, and we're just renting a house on their property.
So what do we do about it? Let's get philosophical. How do we solve the world's problems?
That's tough. I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah, I expect you to have an answer too.
Just try to take yourself out of your own life for a second. I mean, try to picture the bigger world, because I think that's the issue, is people get drawn into their lives, and that makes a visual kind of wall to the world's problems. You can block it out. You know, hey, I've got to go here today. I got to go to Target. I got to go here. I've got to go to work. You can forget about it.
It's easy.
It's
yeah,
easy
again,
to
it goes
forget
back
about
to,
it.
like we mentioned earlier,
We need
I
to
think
make
we've
it a
built
part
a
of our
world in
daily
which
life.
it's really easy to
Yeah.
unplug yourself from these
Yeah.
things. So how do we solve this? How do we make it easier for people to connect to
I mean,
so many people? I
there's a
feel bad.
question.
I mean, they have to, go to work. They have
Yeah,
to pay bills.
yeah.
They have to. They're slaves to the system. How do we give people a chance?
Mm-hmm.
That's a new reality show
Yeah.
or whatever. Let's. How do we fund this so people, especially people from city environments, how do
Yeah.
we get them the chance to see the natural world? Because I'm convinced once people engage with nature, part of them will understand why it's important.
Yeah, definitely.
Hands down. Now,
Yeah.
they might not be able to change their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that goes back to voting. Voting
Mm-hmm.
for people, voting for with your money, if you can. I don't know, these are big thoughts. Big thoughts, heavy hitter here for the first episode of season 3. And I
How to
promised
scroll.
it would be short. We're about, 40 minutes into this. So I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. So I'm going to save that for some future episodes. At any rate, I am so appreciative if any of you joined in at all. I know we had Scene Sprout, we had Brian, we had Paul. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight and hanging out for a bit to think about the wild, think about the world around us, delve a little bit into the Lion Tracker's Guide to Life. I'm going to pull that up one more time briefly. If you haven't read this book, I really encourage. It is a great book. It'll make you think. There it is. It, at any rate, will inspire you, hopefully, and get you a little bit curious about African nature itself, but ultimately plugging yourself into the natural world around you. Good book. I'm going to rate it on a scale of 1 star to several plantains, an eggplant, and a Jupiter.
Sounds good.
This is a great book. You guys should definitely read it.
I'm sold.
Sold. It's worth your time. I encourage you. It's available at Barnes & Noble. It's easy to grab. We'll maybe be back next week. We've got some great stuff coming up for you guys here. We have several amazing guests that I'm hoping to bring on the program. A few confirmed, a few maybe, so we'll let you know soon. But it's not going to just be us and Jeff when he's back bullshitting around the proverbial campfire. We have some real people coming up. They're going to talk about everything from frogs to birds to wildlife rehabilitation to plants. A big thing we want to address this season is plant blindness. We talk so much about wildlife, like you're domestic wildlife. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
But very few talk about plants. So we're going to make it a priority. Season 3, plants. I'd also, in season 3, plants. Yeah, well, you broke the plant. You killed
I'm
it.
sorry.
We'd also love this
I didn't
season to
mean
be
to
doing a
kill
live
plants.
stream from the Cal Academy of Science in San Francisco. I think that'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Be easy. We're going to strap a GoPro to our chest, go live, and just do a tour of the whole museum. So we'll take you along for the ride. At the very least here, thank you all for joining us. If you're watching this in syndication, you can find, of course, much more here on our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Instagram. Just search Misguided Guide, and you'll find me. I post pretty regularly. I do stories a lot, and then posts about once or twice a week or so. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next time. You have any closing remarks?
No.
Good enough. See you guys.